What happens when the woman you built your perfect, loyal husband brand around suddenly flips the script? When the very queen you swore to defend through thick and thin turns around and says, "He's not who you think he is"? Tonight, buckle up, because this scandal is so twisted it makes reality TV look like a bedtime story. Remy Ma, the undisputed queen of cutthroat bars and unfiltered truths, isn't just exposing some petty spat. No, she's yanking out a chapter Papoose thought he buried 6 feet under, one the world was never supposed to read. The family he pretended didn't exist. Let that sting. While cameras rolled and fans swooned over their perfect romance, shadows danced behind the spotlight, real faces, real kids, and whispers that now roar like alarms. So, here's the burning question. Was Papoose really the king of loyalty, or just the king of cover-ups? Did we buy a myth, or did we willfully ignore the skeletons rattling right behind him? Stay glued, because this isn't a story, it's a full-on unmasking. And once Remy drops the bomb, you'll never see Papoose the same again. They sold us the hip-hop love saga of the decade, a man waiting 7 long years while his queen did time. A tale of loyalty, resilience, and faith so strong it could bend steel bars. But here's the issue with fairy tales. They're designed to distract you from the monsters hiding inside them. And the second Remy Ma decided she wasn't playing house anymore, the whole fantasy collapsed. Because according to her, the loyal husband image wasn't just exaggerated, it was manufactured. A lie cemented on the backs of children pushed out. Of the picture, children erased from the spotlight while Papoose strutted across America as Mr. Faithful. Let's cut through the fluff. Papoose, real name Shamal Mackey, was never a stranger to drama. His career thrived more on smoke and whispers than on gold plaques. Known for mixtapes, gritty bars, and an ironclad ego, Papoose clawed his way into hip-hop's basement. What he lacked in mainstream hits, he replaced with image crafting, and nothing polished that image shinier than his marriage to Remy Ma. When Remy landed behind bars in 2008, Pap spotted the perfect hustle. While rappers flexed chains and staged beefs, he crowned himself the ultimate husband, the man who waits. It looked noble. It sold well. It profited big. But it was only half a fairy tale. Because under the halo, under the flowers, and beneath the photo op smiles, sat a darker script. Remy Ma herself broke the silence, whispering to insiders and later hinting online that Papoose's loyalty wasn't as flawless as advertised. Before cameras, before VH1, before those carefully staged family snapshots, there were children. A whole family shoved aside like forgotten baggage. Now pause. How does one sell the world on being rap's most loyal man when kids out there barely know your voice? How do you hold down your wife for 7 years, but fail to hold up your own children? That's not loyalty. That's performance art dressed in loyalty's clothes. And here's the kicker. Remy allegedly always knew. From the beginning. According to one insider, she swallowed the truth to protect their joint brand. But once the lies piled high, she decided the world needed receipts. She wanted the mask ripped clean off. Boom. Imagine that weight. The very queen who cashed in the most from Pap's loyalty myth spinning around to declare, this was never the whole truth. The fallout hit like an earthquake. Bloggers swarmed, gossip pages ignited, and rumors crawled back from the grave. Names like DeJane, Shamal Jr., and Destiny suddenly haunted every comment section. Fans demanded answers. Who were these kids? Why were they ghosts in his public life? And why did Pap parade a Father of the Year act with Remy and their daughter? Reminisce while ignoring the rest? But here's where the scandal digs its sharpest claws. Because this wasn't just omission, it was erasure. Erasure so bold even Remy Ma allegedly choked on the hypocrisy. He erased them for me, she reportedly confided to a friend, but I don't want that weight on my shoulders. That single line flips the entire narrative upside down. If true, Papoose didn't just overlook his kids. He airbrushed them out, rebuilding himself as the saintly husband who sacrificed everything for love. But the real sacrifice wasn't his. It was theirs. And suddenly, receipts started pouring in. Alleged leaked screenshots of dusty Facebook posts showed Pap grinning with toddlers the world never saw, family cookouts, birthday cakes, blurry candids, Snapshots from a life quietly cut from the final edit. The kind of receipts that don't shout, they whisper. But when whispers get loud enough, they become screams. And fans naturally morphed into detectives. Overnight. Old interviews got freeze-framed, word by word. A casual remark about raising kids became evidence. Even stray lyrics about my seed were pulled out of the archives, dissected like crime scene clues. And every breadcrumb led to one conclusion. The loyal husband image was smoke and mirrors. The hypocrisy? Too messy to ignore. Suddenly Papoose, the rapper who bragged about being the realist, was accused of committing the fakest sin of them all, preaching loyalty while practicing selective amnesia. It was the kind of contradiction the internet lives to feast on. And Remy Ma? She wasn't softening her stance. In a supposed leaked audio, she allegedly declared, "People deserve to know. He didn't just wait for me, he erased them for me. But I can't live with that anymore. That's dynamite." Because instantly, Remy shifted from accomplice to whistleblower. The very woman Pap paraded as Exhibit A of his loyalty was now the one dismantling his empire brick by brick. Picture the optics. The man sold as hip-hop's most faithful husband, wrecked not by haters, but by the wife he claimed to love beyond measure. If that's not karma flexing her sense of humor, what is? And the internet? The internet laughed. Memes flooded timelines overnight. Side-by-side collages of Papoose's staged loyal husband photos popped up with captions like, "Meanwhile, his other kids watching from the shadows." Brutal, savage, viral. But under the comedy lived something darker. Because those kids weren't punchlines. They were people. People forced to grow up in silence, while their father turned himself into a brand and treated their existence like a liability. That pain, that betrayal, was the very gasoline Remy Ma decided to throw on Pap's carefully polished image. Suddenly, the story wasn't just about loyalty anymore. It was about betrayal, hypocrisy, and the human cost of branding yourself as flawless. And if Remy's words were legit, the facade wasn't just cracking, it was collapsing. But just when you thought the circus couldn't get messier, the first wife, the erased partner, the woman written out alongside the kids, allegedly decided to speak. What she revealed didn't just sting, it detonated. For years, her name was scrubbed, her pictures deleted, her role in Pap's origin story painted over like graffiti on a clean wall. But silence has an expiration date. And when the first wife finally ended hers, the empire Papoose built on loyalty began collapsing like a cheap stage prop. She didn't storm a reunion stage or sell her soul to TMZ. She played it smart. She whispered. It started with a casual comment under an old photo, then a cryptic status on a forgotten Facebook page. Words that sounded harmless, until you stacked them against the glossy, loyal husband narrative Pap had milked for years. Loyalty. Funny how people scream it on TV when they couldn't show it at home. That was it. One line. But it landed like a bomb. Screenshots lit up Twitter. Reddit threads spiraled. Wait. Is this her? And in minutes, the silence became the loudest scream of all. Allegedly, she wasn't done. Friends close to her began dropping breadcrumbs. One swore she'd kept every handwritten letter Pap penned in his grind-era days. Another claimed she had photos, raw, unpublished, undeniable proof that before Remy Ma, before VH1 cameras, Pap was already a father. And right on cue, the receipts surfaced. Grainy snapshots hit the internet. A younger Papoose, frozen in time at a birthday party, his arm wrapped around a toddler. A family cookout snapshot where the resemblance was impossible to deny. These weren't tabloid fakes, they were raw, messy receipts, the kind that keep PR teams awake at 3 a.m. The internet went feral. Comments flooded in. So he really did erase them. This man built an entire brand on lies, those poor kids. But the first wife wasn't just dropping photos. She was detonating truth bombs. Alleged court papers, yes, court papers, showed Papoose dragged in over late child support. Suddenly, whispers weren't whispers anymore. They had legal teeth. The same man who staged loyalty vigils outside prison gates for Remy Ma couldn't even show up for his own kids' milestones. That contradiction? Too heavy to ignore. One podcaster famous for roasting rappers nailed it. Pap out here bragging about waiting 7 years for Remy, but couldn't wait 7 minutes for his kids' graduations. Miss me with that loyalty talk. Savage, painful, and unforgettable. Meanwhile, Pap's socials drowned under comments he couldn't delete fast enough. Where are your other kids? Why won't you say their names? Loyal husband? More like absent father. The same narrative Pap sold with so much. Pride was now boomeranging back, dripping with venom. And in the middle of it all, Remy Ma allegedly doubled down. She didn't defend him. She didn't shield him. Instead, sources claim she quietly fueled the fire. One insider whispered, "She's tired. Tired of carrying his lie. If the first wife wants to talk, Remy's not stopping her." That was the coffin nail. Because if Remy wasn't protecting him, who possibly would? The very woman who once profited from his carefully staged image was now stepping aside, letting the wrecking ball swing. And swing it did. Blogs plastered headlines. Papoose's first wife breaks silence. Family erased from spotlight. Reaction. Channels pumped out hour-long breakdowns, dissecting every screenshot, every whispered word, every alleged court filing. The narrative wasn't just collapsing, it was reduced to dust. Then came the alleged audio. A grainy clip, supposedly the first wife on a phone call saying, "He told me to keep quiet. Said it was better for the brand." But loyalty to who? It wasn't to us. Whether real or doctored didn't matter. The internet stamped it as gospel. And belief, let's be honest, is way more dangerous than proof. Suddenly, the scandal wasn't just about kids in the shadows, it was about control. About silencing a woman and her children so one man could market himself as hip-hop's patron saint of loyalty. It was betrayal, shrink-wrapped and sold as PR. Gold. Fans began rewriting Papoose's entire history in real time. Every time he preached loyalty, they heard lies. Every photo with Remy Ma became a reminder of the kids missing from the frame. The illusion? Obliterated. And as the storm raged, the legal system caught the scent. Whispers of fresh filings surfaced, lawsuits, DNA tests, financial disputes. Nothing confirmed, but everything believable. And in scandal land, believable equals truth. Industry. Insiders began bailing. One DJ allegedly refused to spin his tracks at a club, sneering, "I don't play frauds." A clothing collab rumored to be in the works? Dead silent. The whispers only grew. Pap wasn't just bleeding fans, he was bleeding money. Meanwhile, the first wife's words haunted every corner of the internet. Painful, cutting, impossible to forget. He erased us so he could shine with her. That wasn't just personal, it was a public execution. A narrative reset button. Suddenly, the so-called power couple didn't look like a love story. They looked like a calculated business deal built on someone else's silence. They were the ghosts in his fairy tale. Kids, shoved into the shadows while the world praised their father's so-called loyalty. Imagine that. Fans applauding his devotion while his children lived with nothing but absence. That's not scandal. That's straight-up tragedy. Yet even as his past clawed at him like a horror movie villain, Papoose allegedly had the nerve to plot another reset, another family, another rewrite of his messy chapters. Because right as this scandal boiled over, a new name started creeping across headlines: Claressa Shields. And what followed would test whether Papoose was a man haunted by bad choices or a repeat offender cursed to relive the same script on loop. By the time the storm peaked, he wasn't just trending, he was drowning. The man who sold his entire brand on one word, loyalty, was now being roasted alive for it. Memes flooded timelines. Split-screen shots of him holding Remy Ma's hand. Outside prison captioned, "Loyal husband. Ask his forgotten kids." Entire podcasts dedicated hours to tearing his brand apart one savage punchline at a time. But the circus didn't stop online. The industry itself treated him like a sinking ship. A clothing line ready to crown him Father's Day family man suddenly ghosted. A long-booked podcast spot axed. DJs refused to spin his tracks, saying, the crowd booed the moment his name hit. Even the gossip blogs that once glorified him turned cruel, digging up deep dives on the family he erased. One blogger cut the deepest with a single line perfectly. "You can fake bars, you can fake clout, but you can't fake blood, and blood keeps receipts." And just when one scandal's smoke refused to fade, fresh whispers slithered in. This time, the star was none other than Claressa Shields, the undefeated boxing queen. At first, it sounded laughable. What could a fading rap vet with a cracked crown possibly want with one of the most dominant athletes alive? But the whispers swelled. Alleged DMs slipped out, claiming Papoose and Claressa were exchanging words. Screenshots, grainy but oh so clickable, hinted at late-night chats, baby emojis, and talks of a shiny reset. A reset that left 2 households already in ashes. The internet combusted. Not Claressa, fans pleaded. She's way too sharp to get played like that. But others weren't buying it, because patterns don't lie, and Papoose's pattern was crystal. Build the brand, wipe the slate, spin a new chapter. Even Remy Ma allegedly tossed gasoline on the flames. In a so-called leaked phone call, she warned, "He'll do to you exactly what he did to me. Don't get cute. I thought I was different too." Whether staged or authentic, the smear was locked in. Claressa's name was now stapled to Papoose's mess, and fans lined up like fight night. Team Remy versus Team Pap, with Claressa dragged ringside, her image pinned to a scandal she never signed up for. Meanwhile, sponsors caught the scent of blood. An energy drink company circling Claressa supposedly backed out the second her name got dragged into a sentence with Papoose. Guilt by association. Proof of how radioactive his brand had rotted. And under every headline, the real question still screamed, the kids, the ones Pap erased, the ones Remy blasted. What happens to them? How do they feel watching their father stack up another family while pretending the first ones don't exist? That's not scandal. That's legacy rot. And Papoose's legacy looks less like loyal husband and more like professional betrayer. The irony? Delicious in the ugliest way. A man who clowned others for being fake just got crowned the fakest of them all. A man who sold loyalty like merch just became a cautionary meme. One viral TikTok nailed it. A montage of Pap's most dramatic loyalty stunts. Waiting outside prison, sobbing on camera, praising Remy in interviews, all flashing under bold text. Meanwhile, his kids waiting. Arrows pointing left, arrows pointing right. Millions of views, thousands of comments, reputation incinerated. And yet insiders whispered Pap wasn't done. That even in the rubble, he was plotting another reboot. Maybe with Claressa, maybe with someone else. But the pattern never changes. The internet, of course, had receipts locked and loaded. Every time he posted, the comments swarmed. Where are your kids? Why Claressa? Loyalty to who? He couldn't escape the ghosts he buried, which is why this saga isn't just about hidden families and erased kids. It's a masterclass in brand suicide. Because when the blueprint is lies, betrayal, and PR smokescreens, collapse is guaranteed. Remy Ma's expose didn't just rip the curtain back, it torched the whole stage. And now, with Claressa Shields' name dragged into the ashes, the question isn't if Pap can recover, it's whether hip-hop will ever forgive him. Because loyalty isn't sold on camera. Loyalty is lived when the camera's cut off. And Papoose just got caught in 4K trying to bury his. So here it is, the mask. Shattered. The loyal husband idolized by millions. The man who built a career waiting outside prison gates. He isn't the saint we bought. Hidden families, erased children, a first wife silenced, and now Claressa Shields tossed into his rerun of betrayals. The question isn't if Pap lied. The question is how deep the lie bleeds. How many lives got deleted so his brand could shine? And if betrayal is his habit, is Claressa about to be the next casualty? Think about it. If a man can erase his own children, if he can muzzle the woman who gave him his first family, what's stopping him from rewriting the same script again? Was Remy's warning just bitterness or prophecy Claressa should take to heart? Now it's your turn. Did Papoose ever earn the loyal husband crown, or was it always theater? Should Claressa Shields run now, or is redemption still hiding under the rubble? Drop your thoughts below. We're watching every comment. This debate isn't dying here. It's only heating up. And if you want more raw exposés, scandals torn from the shadows, and truth bombs bigger than this, you already know. Smash subscribe. Turn on those notifications because what's coming next? It's about to make this look like child's play. Let's play.